Welcome to the Justice Broadcasting Network. My name is Gary Justice with the head coach, Mary Haynes of the University of Pikeville Volleyball Program. And, Coach, it's been a while since we had an opportunity to sit down, so I appreciate your time this evening.
Yeah, no worries.
So, Coach, you guys are playing extremely well right now. You're on currently, as the time of recording, you're on a 4-match win streak. This is the second of at least 4 matches on the season. Talk about how the season's going so far.
I feel like we haven't talked in so long because so much has happened in between. Um, I'm excited to watch us because we're getting to that point where we're peaking. Like we're doing it at the right time, at the right consistent pace. It's not like, shoom, and um, I'm just so proud of the team as a whole because we're so much deeper than we've been in the past, and we've been able to run such a versatile lineup that regardless of injuries, sickness, um, just an off night, we've been able to make some modifications and really excel in it. And they're so good about cheering on their teammates that it's not like, oh, I'm out. It's like, okay, now it just means I have to get crazier on the sideline. I have to make even more noise because I'm not on the court. And it's been fun to watch the team identity. Because
Yes.
they're one of the hard teams to play because they're so energetic and supportive of one another. And
They're definitely it's a we, not a me. Definitely team. I mean, 'cause they're fun to watch on the bench. I'm sure.
yeah, so I know they have equal fun, in different ways, and it makes us more successful. And I think the deeper your bench is, the more successful you are at practice. You and I were talking before we went on the air about even our reserve squad. I mean, they're 10-0 right now. They are pushing themselves. They're working on things. They they've accepted this like Cub identity. So it's been really cute. They call themselves the Cubs, and they're working every day just as hard as anybody else. And you're seeing some of the overlap between the reserve squad and the varsity squad too, to where they're able to come in and step in and be a part of that because we are one team. We really practice as one unit, and I think that's important too because they're equally as important to the group. Um, and I think that's a unique dynamic that volleyball can embody because our JV
Yes.
season is during the
Mhm.
varsity season, whereas other sports don't have that advantage.
Good point.
Um, and we're blessed for it. It also is one of the unique things you have with the NAIA is that you have the ability to run those
Yes.
JV programs, and these players aren't coming and sitting for 2 years and all they get is the practice time. They're actually getting live game play. Um,
Well, also it gives you an opportunity to evaluate players as well, maybe movement, play in certain opportunities, or even if you have somebody who particularly plays a lot on the varsity matches, if you want to say play a different spot, you can always run them in on the reserve match for a little bit. I've noticed that you utilize those reserve matches. One, a lot of people are playing, but then
mhm.
also if you do need to get somebody maybe a little bit more time, have an opportunity as well.
Yeah, as long as you don't exceed that 5 set rule, you're doing okay. So they can get those extra swings or work on a different position or work on a certain shot or get some reps with a different setter if they need to to learn that setter for any reason. It's been nice to see the player development that way too.
It's been really fun to watch the team this year. Coach, a lot of the individual accolades going around. Got a lot of player of the weeks, defenders of the weeks, and just to see a lot of the players, their games are developing.
Mhm.
I mean, just from where they started off the season to where they are now, they're you talking about they're I don't think they've peaked yet. I think they're on the way to the peak, and
Mhm.
it's definitely it's the part of the journey. But coach, I mean, it's totally impressed with on the defensive end. You got a lot of offensive players who can hit the
Yes.
volleyball. Talk about the defense though.
I mean, defensively, so the way your defense really starts is at the net. So, they're setting up channels for our back row to be successful, and the back row is reading that so well. They're in their location where they need to be. They're channeling that. They're not on their heels. They're able to run through if it's a tip. They're picking up the corner shots, and that's attributed to like their hard work and listening to a game plan. We scout film, we go through it. Everybody individually turns in their scout report, and it's combined, and then we talk about it. We do a scout practice, and we kind of have it separated to where you're really looking at what the defense needs to cover and then what the offense has available. So the defense has taken that to heart and realized how important and imperative they are to you, because if they're not picking up that ball, there's no way that the setter is going to be able to run their offense, and the hitters aren't going to be as successful.
On the defensive end, you talking about starting with the net, and I've noticed, it's not just the blocks; it's getting the hand on the attack. If you just get some hands on the volleyball and slow down the attack, where you can get a ball control, so you can get it to the setter, so you can stay in system. And your blockers, they're doing a phenomenal job just getting hands on volleyballs to slow things down. But just starting, let's go backwards as far as in the back row. Of course, you got Ashton Filkins, the libero, your defensive specialist on that back row. You ran in several people in that back row. They do such a good job, because I haven't seen many times this year, Coach, where they've been a lot of open gaps where, a lot of times where teams I've noticed now is really starting on the serve. They're trying to press that back line or the sideline, trying to get teams out of system.
Mhm.
But you guys are not. I mean, there are not a lot of scoring gaps against your defense.
We work on out of system plays. I know, Ashton does a great job of stepping in and taking that, even if it's with, a bump set or, a platform, um, and making sure, stay behind the 10-foot line, et
Yeah.
cetera, et cetera. She does a lot of stuff with her platform to assure that there's no violation. And our hitters do a good job of adjusting. And we've worked on a few things like, okay, now we're overrunning the set. We're hitting too many out of system balls out. We have the ability to keep those balls in, and we work on that, especially because when you're running a 5-1, they like to take your setter out. So, Chloe has significant digs for the season.
A lot.
And having setters that play defense well is a blessing when you're a coach, and we do here, have setters that like to play some defense. So that's always a blessing. And I mean, you've even seen one of our former setters transitioning as more of a DS, and some other opportunities in that regard too. And it's been fun to see the girls embrace, like, how can I be the best fit for the program this year? And I think that that's been the greatest thing, because you've seen a lot of transitions and switches or modifications that we can make during play, where players are playing multiple locations on the court. So whether they're playing outside or right side, they're playing right back or setter, or or left back or whatnot. You see that, and they embrace it. It's not been like, I'm not playing that. And you're like, well, you'd be a good fit for that right now, so why don't we try it? We don't have to do that. And so that makes my job easier.
You definitely going back to the reserve team. Just a very talented team as well. I've had opportunity to cover them a few times this year, and they're running the same offense, same defense that you're running. Very talented players too. Definitely encouraged and also excited to watch them grow
Oh, I can't wait.
throughout their time here. And you've said it during our season interview that your reserve teams could beat a lot of varsity clubs, and I agree with you now, because I'm saying, because they're running the offense out there. This is not just bump volleyball. They're running their system. They're playing their defense. Been very impressed with the roster you put together, Coach.
I'm proud of them too, because they're just getting better and better too. It's fun to watch, because there is a big jump with especially the freshmen in the spring season, with just getting stronger and working on your vertical and just some things that they've not done before, that then they're doing in a controlled environment with, proper training. And not that that's not possible outside of a collegiate program, just they're doing it with our strength and conditioning coaches, or working with us on different skills, and we haven't even gotten to that point yet. So looking at what they're doing right now, and just knowing, okay, they have some big shoes to fill. We just interviewed all of them. They
Yes.
have some big shoes to fill, that they're capable, which is cool. I mean, they look up to these girls. They get to practice with them every day and just get to know them and really understand what our program's all about, and moving that legacy forward, and knowing that, we're family first and we work hard together as a unit, and they've really, really embraced that. And this group had a unique dynamic coming in anyway. They're just so much fun.
Yes.
I mean, there are times where I drive the van with a lot of them in it, and I'm like, I have got to put an earbud in. You guys are so loud. Like they're so funny, and a lot of them know each other from beforehand. You know, there's a lot of kids who are local or even had moved away but knew them
Correct.
through travel, and we put them in a group chat, so they've been talking from day one.
Love it.
Your 26 kids are going to be like that too. So like it's been a lot of fun.
So, Coach, you're 9-3 in the conference. You have an opportunity. The tape of this one, we'll be traveling to Truett and Montreat this weekend. 3 home matches the next week with Milligan, Tennessee Wesleyan, and Bryan. And then you
Yeah,
have 2 more matches after that. You have
yeah,
travel to Johnson
Union.
and Union. So you have 7 matches left. What do you want to see out of your Bop Club these last 7 matches to prepare you for the conference tournament?
I think playing our game and playing true to ourselves, and it doesn't matter what opponent you're going in there to go in and stick with the scouting report, stick with what we want to work on, plays that we've been practicing, being aggressive with your placement and and not slowing down or becoming timid for any reason because something's different or unique to what we're used to playing against. Um, I think that'll matter when you're going around and playing the secondary match um, to the teams that you've already played. It can be intimidating too, like whether you lost to them or just thinking, oh well, this is what happened the last time. But there's been large dynamic shifts in a lot of programs. I
Good
mean,
point.
we played Johnson very early. We finished our season with Johnson, so they're going to be a different team. Um, and that goes for other programs too. Unfortunately, um, Bluefield had one of their main hitters go down, and we're all sending prayers and good vibes for her. I think her surgery was this week, and you see all this happen during your season, so you know that even though you've seen them once, you've not seen them at all, and remembering that every match matters and not looking at tournament time,
True.
looking at okay, our next match, we're at TMU. That's who we need to focus on. And immediately the next morning, flip that switch because you're going to Montreat.
Yeah, that's the challenging. A lot of times, in high school volleyball, usually you'll play a match and you'll have a couple of days off. In college, and especially here, you got the 2 this week, but then you jump back at
It's
next
very,
week. You got 3 next week:
yeah.
Tuesday, Friday, Saturday.
And
And you talk about it's a quick turnaround. So you play
it's a stacked week, yeah.
stack week. So going back, staying this week with Truett McConnell Montreat, you think about it, you got to play and then travel a little bit to get to Montreat, and then you're playing 11 o'clock on a Saturday morning. That's a challenge, Coach.
Yeah. And I mean, and we're doing that the whole conference, everybody's doing that, and I think that's what makes you go, okay, everybody's going through the same kind of pains you are.
Good point.
And I know there have been some coaches that have spoken about like let's move back the Saturday match to a little later in the day. I mean, when I played in college, I remember playing Friday at 7, Saturday at 4, and then Sunday I think it was like a 1 or a 2 o'clock match. And you played those 3 days, and then if you had a midweek match, it was normally your Tuesday. And I mean, it's almost 20 years ago, but yeah, it
But
changes. But yeah, it's a lot.
it,
Volleyball is a different dynamic,
even going rewind until past weekend, you guys had a late Friday night match, and then
mm,
turned around and played a 9 o'clock match
right?
on last Saturday, and this, and then Columbia is traveling in Columbia International. So it's impressive what the not just, I mean, everybody in the conference is doing it. It's just
Mm-hmm.
not the University of Pikeville, but it's impressive what to see what the teams do
Mm-hmm.
and be ready to play as well.
Yeah, I think every sport has their own, you know, dynamics,
True.
especially with like the way that they prepare. And you and I've talked about this before to watch the focus that has to occur and the discipline that has to occur, with your program to go, okay, we're starting our week. We have Sundays off. All right, but we just played on Saturday. So on Sunday, watch that scout film because you're playing a team on Tuesday. Turn in your scouting report on Sunday night. Have your scout ready to go because we're running scout team againut the
On Monday, right?
against on Monday, and working on the skills that we need to um, outscore our opponent. Play on Tuesday. Then you're already watching scout film on Wednesday for your Friday match. You're doing your Thursday scouting report for your Saturday match. Play Friday, Saturday. Turn around, do it all over again.
It's a challenging
It's
schedule.
it's a lot. It's a lot, but once you establish the norm
Good point.
and you have a system in place because I think watching scout film was really unique to them last year and bringing that in and watching themselves. Now I don't even have to say anything. I don't have to say like sit down and watch yourself. They're texting me going, I'm gonna work on that. I noticed that I was, taking a negative step. So I'm gonna work on that next week. And they're texting that to me. And it's fun to know that they're able to be self aware. And that takes a lot of growth and maturity as an athlete to be able to pinpoint those things. And that's what I'm excited to see because they're students of the game now. And if we just keep progressing, you'll see that change, in this team.
And we talked about we had the 5 seniors in as part of the senior show, and as they take that next step into the professional world,
Mhm.
just the attention to detail they've had to put in playing a collegiate sport like volleyball, it's like with the schedule you made out. That you talk about again, if you're working somewhere, Teresa Romero wanting to become a lawyer. Well, if you have a court case on a Wednesday morning, it may be one of those like that situations where you may be looking at you're working Monday night, you're working in the office all day Monday, you're working Monday night and Tuesday preparing for that Wednesday, and just like, and I think that's what playing a collegiate sport can help you prepare for your chosen professional career.
Yeah, and I think they keep a very impressive grade point average as a
Amazing.
team. I think actually all our teams do here. They do a great job. We have a phenomenal support system. I always tell people you have to actively run from the support that's offered here at UPike
Yes.
to not receive it. I mean, to have the Center for Academic Excellence work with the players, and they have study hall. So they have 6 hours a week that they're going to study hall, specifically freshmen. And then if they have a GPA that's lower than the team required standard, they go. And they have mentors and are supported there. Lori Hypes is our director of that, and we have other support staff there who are phenomenal.
But
You,
going back real quick
no,
to
you're good.
Laura, as far as the CAE, the
Hmm.
Center for Academic Excellence, it's amazing because it takes the choice out for the student. Because sometimes, again, I'm speaking from experience from years ago, but I didn't think I needed tutoring, but I actually did,
Right.
and because I thought tutoring was a negative thing versus I didn't see the positives of it. And I think the way we have the support system set up at the University of Pikeville, there are options there too. You can have a GPA, you don't have to go, but the option is there if you want to go, or if you want to become a tutor.
Right. Well,
All,
what's
all,
really cool is, if a student realizes, wow, I'm actually really successful at this, they end up helping a couple friends, which then
yes.
leads to a job on campus for them. And what athletes can be like, no thanks, I don't want to be spending money. Um, and and that's been really beneficial too. And even kids once they graduate from CAE,
yes.
like they're no longer has to go after their freshman year. For me, unless they're working on something specific, a goal oriented system, then they still like to go. They just like that controlled environment that they have as well. So, but I was going to say that we have freshman advisors, second year advisors. I mean, there's so much support here. I mean, it's not often that you go to a sporting event and Miss Mandy's not in the stands.
That's true.
Like I I remember looking up and there's signs, up there, yeah, hollering at everybody. I mean, it's that's where half my girls spend most of their free time is up in those offices. So they're seniors and they're still in their freshman advisor.
But
And I mean, we're blessed to have that support system to where I think it takes the stress off of them academically in a lot of ways to where they can have that moment where they can take the academic perspective of volleyball in addition to lock in at practice.
but also, coach, it takes a lot off your plate, and the fact of because it allows you just to your interactions. I mean, because in a sporting, whether it be during the game or practice, sometimes they got to be some tough love,
Hmm.
right? And so what happens is we're able to have that. You can separate that. They have that for the
Hmm.
academics, because if you're having that tough love on the court, sometimes you got to have some tough conversations about class. That can kind of maybe make that relationship tough, right? But
Yeah.
I'm not saying you're not afraid to have that tough love with
Yeah.
the players, but this allows them to develop another support system on campus. As
Right.
you talk about Miss Mandy being at the games, or you'll see Lori Hobbs at the games. You'll see a lot of the folks from
Yeah, I mean
campus.
your professors. You got Holcomb. He followed us on the road. Here's our math professor. He's out there cheering louder than I've ever seen, dancing to all the cheers. Having a good old time. I mean, we're just blessed, but sometimes we have to have those conversations as a head coach, and especially at the NAIA, we can have those like, hey, I checked your grade report, just wanted to
Mm.
touch base with you, see if you need any tutoring. We can
Yes.
get that set up in the CAE. But my teacher self hasn't left that either. And I was an academic advisor with the Upward Bound program at Tech. So this is my niche, like this is what I like to do. So to be that support staff for them, but not have to be, but to
Correct.
let them know, hey, I'm just holding you accountable. Want to make sure you're there. Here's your attendance report. Just double check this. Make sure that everything's fine. We do hold our kids accountable for going to class. And there's fun conditioning, for that. But we do a lot of things to be a part of more than just that part, just the volleyball part of their life.
Yes.
And having, we don't have an assistant coach. We have a graduate assistant who is here, Cheyenne Martinez, set for us. She was my graduate assistant last year. This year, she's working with us as this is her last year as a GA, and she's great at facilitating. She has really cool ideas, and we're 20 years apart, but like it's fun to like use my experience and
Yes.
what I see because I'm very analytical, and then she's like very creative on how to plan things. So it's been fun to watch our fusion this year, and I think that makes us successful as well. I'd love to keep her. Her brother's here as an athlete. He's our work study, so it'd be cool to keep her in the area because she's from New Mexico.
And
So
when she wore the orange and black too, she was a very talented setter
yes,
too,
yes.
all conference performer.
Yeah,
Well,
and like every now and then we'll get her out there and we'll be like, yeah, don't let her tear you up because she can see the court really well. And we have Jess Hall who comes in and helps out, a former Moorhead athlete, and just has that really good energy, and just reminds them why they're doing it, like so we're blessed to have the support staff that we do, and very all women kind of empowering women
yes.
system, and not that I'm against
In the
anybody
organized,
else, but it's nice to see.
but I think it's important for the players to see that where you have, if you want to stay in coaching or
Yeah,
whatever profession you go into, regardless of just because you're female doesn't mean anything. You can make it in anything you want to be.
I mean, for a little bit, and now we have female coaches who are here. For a little bit, I was the only full-time female head coach. Now we have our bowling coach,
Yes.
and we. But I mean, that's nothing that Pikeville set up. That wasn't
Yes.
like, so that's nothing against the university. It's just like it's just not as seen sometimes. But it's been nice to do that. And with my husband working as a coach with the football program, it's been nice for them to see the dynamic of the husband-wife duo who also both coach, who are raising a family because there's four of them, like that that we're responsible for outside of that. But it's been a blessing to be able to show them this is what reality is. You can do it. Like just because I'm done with practice or I'm done with budget or I'm done with something else that they put us on a task for, doesn't mean that I don't go home and I'm not a
True.
full-time mom in it,
True.
Or Connor and Aslan are running out there because they're my younger two out on the court, and so it's a very family-oriented program because that's a dynamic we want here, but it's also a very family-oriented program because they're just embedded in mine.
Well, Coach, we're very fortunate to have you
Yeah.
leading the program here at the University of Pikeville, and just it's fun to watch the young ladies play volleyball. And I do have one more strategy question for
Okay.
this. Will be my closing question for you. And going through some statistics, and actually talked about this on the last broadcast there too. Stats don't always tell the story.
Mhm.
So you look at the stats for UPike, you may see the service errors at a little higher rate than what the service aces. And then doing some research, that's actually a strategy, right? They're trying to get the other team
Out of system.
out of systems. Can
Yeah.
can you push on that a little bit about pushing the back line?
I'm. You can probably ask any team that I've coached what one of my favorite things is, and it's serving. I think it's the one thing you can go control that's solely by yourself. You can't say, oh, well, the pass was no good, the set was no good, the ball was off the net. Like you can't. There's nothing but you and the ball, and what am I going to do with that? And you'll see us call serves, and it's because we're looking at who's had a tendency or what's going to throw them out of system, whether it's a stack and they're crossing or it's like they're screening themselves somehow or there's some odd dynamic that's going on and we work on that and they're hitting those zones. That matters because keeping them out of system means that the setter isn't able to run their normal offense, and that allows us to to capitalize on maybe a roll shot, a free ball, or something that's more off the net to where it's an easier dig to then run our system. Um, and we've worked really hard on that. We do a lot of serving drills. We work a lot on serve receive. I love the 2.0 drill that we do, and that's another thing that my players would probably tell you. I like working on serve receive, and if you're a good serving team, your defense or your serve receivers and your receptions,
Yes.
you don't have as many errors, and they're locking in. We don't really do the stat for that as a conference. You're not looking at like the rating of the
Yes.
pass.
Mhm.
It's really just receptions to errors. Um, but to be able to have that solid reception to run a play and get a first ball kill and get out of that to where you are leading the drive with that serve, that's what we're trying to do. We like to take advantage. We like the serves. There are some teams that opt for serve receive. They want to get the first kill. For us, we're
Interesting.
like, we want to have the serve because we know we are good at it.
So you're talking about at the coin flip.
Yeah.
You have that choice,
Yeah,
right?
there's a unique
Just,
dynamic in that there are teams that choose one way and teams, and you kind of feel their vibe through what their choice is at coin toss.
And then also, I've noticed, Coach, that again you'll push the back line on the serve, trying to get them out of the system. Also, you've been utilizing the float serve a lot
Mm-hmm.
this year.
Yeah, we have a lot of girls who have been successful with the jump float. We have a lot of girls who have been successful with, I mean, even the top spin serve has
Yes.
worked, but we even do a lot of flat serves for our level, and I think that's we they're just embracing the like, let me get out of my comfort zone. We have a lot more jumpers than we
Yes.
had in the past. Headed to church. They came back on their church van, but they're always here. They live in the office. They have like their own stack of coloring books and things to do in the office too.
Love
So
it.
it really is. We're not lying when we say it's a family affair here. They're here all the time. Their bus stops right outside. Their church pickups right outside. So, but I'm blessed to be at a place where that's the norm. I think we're so, like, I know I've talked a lot about the university as a whole, but that's what makes this team special is because the university allows for that.
Yeah.
And there's so much freedom and just be you and make it work the way your dynamic works, and they love the uniqueness of you, and your uniqueness is celebrated here. And what I always tell my daughter is you're unique and valuable. Don't let anybody tell you different, because it's hard being a teenage girl,
Amen. It's true.
But that's what this program and this community and this school allow you to be, is unique, and you're valuable because of that. You're uniquely you.
I think the university will meet you where you are, right?
Mhm.
You don't have to adjust you don't have to adjust yourself to who the university is. The university will meet you where you are. There are going to be support systems, and if that support system is not there that what you're looking for,
Mhm.
they'll find some to put it in place
Yeah.
for you.
I think my favorite comment the other day was, you know, our athletic director said, "We embrace your quirks." And that's what makes it work. That's what makes it work.
That's
And
true.
I said I appreciate that because that matters to me.
That's right.
Because I mean, I'm a little weird on the sideline.
Yeah,
I
well,
like cheering too.
I like passionate, Coach.
You
I just
know,
call
but
you passionate.
they and we're goobery, and we might make a team spirit bracelet,
Love
but
it.
like that's what makes us us. And I'm very blessed, and I know you have a big part in our program this year, and we're so blessed that we have you. And I know I've told you that before, but the parents are so grateful to you because we are from so many different places. I probably have the most Kentucky-centered recruiting class this coming year than we've had in a long time.
Right.
But I think all these athletes had kids in this same, like, how there's always cohorts with a lot of kids. But
But also I think it talks about
Yeah.
just the sport of volleyball has grown in
It's
the state of Kentucky.
oh yeah,
You know,
no,
just
I
the
mean,
skill level has gotten better.
I remember coming from Florida and coming up here and going to tournaments and going, wow, this is crazy. You just don't. At the time, it wasn't a synonymous location because we had Florida State as a powerhouse,
Yeah.
and University of Florida as a powerhouse at the time with Cecile Renaud and Mary Wise,
Yeah.
leading the charge, and Ohio State became a big program. Kentucky was a big program.
Mm.
We had a girl from my high school end up at Ohio State and then transfer to UK.
Right.
So, it's crazy, but to see the dynamic shift and see it grow, and have these club programs that are building these athletes up and letting them see other locations, not just, okay, this is what small town ball looks like because this is
Yes.
this is where I'm comfortable, going out and maybe losing a couple times to really see like, okay, we need to speed it up. We need to do this. So it's been fun. The growth of the sport is just so impressive.
And I will say this, Coach. I know you probably still saw this during the volleyball matches. I'm all in as well. I've been doing the spirit finger and the whoosh.
Oh,
I've been,
yes.
I've been doing it. So
Yeah.
I was like, for the folks at home,
Yes.
I had to ask Coach Haynes,
Yeah.
like, what's going on with the face? Oh,
We're sending good vibes.
It's sending good vibes.
It's
So,
the spirit fingers, and then you have to whoosh it over.
yeah, you have
And
to whoosh.
and like sometimes they'll see what I call and they'll whoosh it a little differently because they're guiding the ball in the right direction. So you'll see them really get intensely into it. We're like, okay, we gotta go up and over, you know.
Well,
So yeah,
it is awesome, Coach. So we've got 7 matches left, and opportunity for the team to continue getting better. Still opportunities, as you play. You got Johnson, who's ahead of us in the standings. You got a couple of matches. Got a couple of folks. I know Milligan kind of gave us a loss down in Kingsport, so you have an opportunity to play them again next week. So you have a lot of opportunities to continue punching up, but also maybe it's not revenge is not the right word, but just maybe return the favor and the loss
Right.
to them.
yeah. I mean, I'm always impressed with Geneva's team. You know, Milligan does a
Yes.
great job, and they are a very different team than they've been in the past. They've been older. You know what I mean? I really
Yes.
think it's just they're young,
Young.
but it doesn't mean that they're any weaker. So like you can't go, oh well, look at that. I mean, look at what we did last year with 4 freshies, and then Johnson is different this year too. And I mean, it's fun to see the growth in our conference and make
Yes,
a name
ma'am.
for Appalachian volleyball. I think people don't look at us that way, and I don't want people's ARC score to go down. You know, their strength
Yes.
of schedule rating to go down because they're playing us. I want them to want to play us because we are putting those numbers up and we are being successful.
We're going back to Milligan real quick. If you haven't had a chance to watch him, watch Shelby Miller. She's one of the better attackers of the entire conference, so she does a great job for Milligan as well. So, Coach, I know you got practice to get to. Definitely appreciate your time as well, too, and wishing the best luck in the next 7 matches also. And
Thank you so much.
hopefully you have a lot more matches to play even after those 7 matches as well.
God willing.
God willing.
Amen.
We appreciate you guys tuning in to Justin Broadcast with this show with Coach Mary Haynes with U Pike Volleyball.